what he was created for, which was to destroy the Avengers.
Yep.
I mean, so I've always loved the character, and one of the things, we were also talking about the differences between the comic and the show. That the show did really well was giving us the white version of the Vision.
Yeah.
Does Marc or Levi, do you guys want to talk about the issues that led up to giving us the blank white version of the Vision and their children also?
I'll start with the Vision quest, because I remember John Byrne, actually he'd been away for a little while. So I remember I was in high school. It was a big deal. Like, oh, John Byrne's coming back. He's taking over West Coast Avengers, and it was like the story just boom. They've taken the Vision. Where is the Vision? So there was this whole Vision quest storyline, which was really big, And then when they finally find the Vision, the government had abducted him, and you see the splash page opens up. And he's in pieces, and they took that right from the comic book and put it right on the screens. And you really
first episode where they thanked John Byrne in the special thanks. I thought he probably should have been ahead of Brian Michael Bendis, but I'm not.
Well, you know what? I don't think they thanked Byrne until that episode, because it's a spoiler.
That's correct.
Exactly. It was.
Well, it's a spoiler for assholes like us who are reading the special.
Yeah, but assholes like us. Well, not assholes like us. Assholes who know the stuff that we do, see something like that, and then they go out and go, "Well, it's obvious we're doing this," and they fucking.
And then we put it on social media and spoil it for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So
now,
I don't blame them.
I do think that it's important to note that in the books, you also have to kind of understand the reason that the Vision that is vanished. You have to go back to the East Coast Avengers, because when I was reading the books, the Vision was a very boring character to me. Sorry. He'd already been well established in a relationship with Wanda, but he was also, they frankly made him a very, at least with the writers that I was growing up with, I think it was during the Roger Stern point of the Avengers, I wasn't as into the Avengers as I later would be. And the Vision never really came off well. And they kind of hit that again in the Tom King series, where he becomes very scary, quite frankly. And really, Vision is a weird creation, because he can either be, he can be portrayed as a Phoenix level power, or he can be nerfed almost immediately. He's a very odd character, and he's of course got one of the worst color schemes in history, taken directly from Robin. So
I'm sorry, I like the green and yellow with the red skin. I'm sorry.
I liked how they translated it into the MCU, and the Vision is important to the Marvel universe, because once you have the Vision walk onto the screen in any movie, in any genre, anything's game. Everything's on the table if you can make the fucking Vision work visually.
Yeah,
and also too, not to go into too much of a side note, but this could be another episode. Just talking about color theory too, because anytime you have a color like that, like green isn't a primary color, it's more of a secondary color. So you won't, like Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor. They're all primary colors for the most part. Use the primary colors for the heroes. Anytime you see green or purple, it's either a villain or somebody who's conflicted, like the Joker or the Hulk. The green, purples, and things like that. Yeah. So when you pay attention to the colors in comics, there's a specific reason they do the colors for everything. You won't see, maybe in newer comics they may have changed that, but historically there's always a reason for that. And look at Vision's face; he's got red on his face and green, and red and green are complementary colors, in the sense that they don't complement each other, but they're actually the opposites of each other.
Yeah, they bring each other
on
out.
his head.
Yeah,
and
so
also you put that on his head. There's a.
I was going to say the red and green color scheme also comes from Wonder Man's original costume, and if you want to talk about
that's correct. He's reworked, and like I said,
you want to talk about a character
always done
that's
interesting things with Vision in that he's always been that kind of Spock character where he's being very human. He loves Wanda, but he's also following the dictates of logic. And
yes, so he can show you both. Yeah.
Before Vision Quest, they had this arc in Avengers where he started, even pre-internet, he started talking with the Titans. He started interfacing with the supercomputer Isaac of Thanos' father, mentor. Yeah. And he starts to grow exponentially in the things he's able to do. And I couldn't help but remember this part in Snyder's Justice League where Cyborg's father is outlining Cyborg's powers.
And what his potential, yeah. Sorry.
And he basically outlines what the Vision's powers were. He can go into any computer. He can talk to them. He can do any. He default becomes the most powerful being on Earth for controlling the most powerful things on Earth. And at some point he seizes control of all the Earth's defense systems, and he's like, "I'm going to get rid of all the nuclear weapons. We're going to." And they disentangle him from all of that. They get him out of that. He goes into a coma. He's kept at the Baxter Building in stasis for forever and a day until they bring him out of it for a while. But you could see he was always doing these weird things. So you never knew if you could trust him. And then but then they give him this nice warm Vision and Scarlet Witch series where he's, basically where they took and they put them in the suburbia. So, and that's the parts they took in the film. What you folks said before, I cannot underline more how important Paul Bettany's performance is, because when he speaks and he gives you the Vision's worldview, you can't imagine this man doing anything to harm people. You can see he cares about people. He has more empathy than Henry Cavill's Superman.
Easily.
That's not difficult.
It's not a high bar to clear, but my point is that's what we needed to see. And Henry Cavill, by the way, I'm not blaming him. He wasn't allowed.
It's not him. It's
I'm not going to get into that podcast right now. But he has the capacity to be a wonderful Superman, but he was not allowed to for the longest time.
Yeah.
Paul Bettany plays a beautiful, compassionate Superman character who remarkably, I think, had a better arc in WandaVision than Wanda did.
Yeah, totally.
I agree. I definitely think
because at the end, Marvel, for all of Marvel's strengths, Marvel also has a few traps that they fall into. And one of their biggest traps, and it's a problem in the first Iron Man film, it was still new then, but it happened in The Incredible Hulk, then it happened in Iron Man 2, and so on and so forth, is that at one point of the film, the hero has to fight a bigger, badder version of themselves to win the day. And what WandaVision pretty much turned into was Agatha, pretty good character on her own, but they're trading the same barbs you've already heard for the last 10 years, to the point where she's like, and this is the part of the WandaVision that I was not a fan of, because Agatha goes, oh, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're setting in motion. And I hate when villains do that. I hate when villains do that. More so because of what Wanda doesn't say, which is, oh, and you would have been so fucking great. What crazy great thing were you going to do? Thank you.
I kill everybody I know. I kill
I just want it at that point, I just want a human reaction going, you killed my fucking dog. You really, I think I can do a little better than you. I think I can do this a little better than you.
Yeah. You've been not only are you trying to take my powers, you're taking delight in trying to take my powers.
Yeah. Like, I have to take this because if I don't, you will. That's no good. And if I just heard that line, and for a show that's been so careful and so methodical and brilliant, quite frankly, brilliant.
Yeah, really.
For the Vision to have a monologue that describes grief in a way I've never heard it described.
It was so powerful,
in a fucking Scorsese film.
It was so powerful.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe I was hearing it. And then the thesis ship debate.
That is my favorite part of the whole series.
Still taken from the comics.
Yeah.
But done even better than the comics.
Elevated.
I couldn't believe it. I was amazed. I was amazed that we were seeing this. And it reminded me of my favorite moment in probably the Marvel pantheon, which was in the Winter Soldier when Captain America wins by deciding he cannot fight his friend and literally lets his friend beat the shit out of him in the hopes that it will beat some sense into him. Captain America doesn't punch his way out of the fight. He gets punched. And it's the same thing with the Vision. They have an intellectual exercise. Yeah. And it's still captivating. And Wanda, meanwhile, I knew what Wanda was doing every time she missed, Agatha. I got it. I put that one together. And I would have been fine with that if they just added that little line. Because, again, when you do the tropey, you don't know what you're unleashing. Yes, I fucking do. I know it's going to be better than whatever you're unleashing. How about that? Yeah. So it's believe me, it's a nit. And I'm picking it. It's still a fantastic show. Why? Because I'm fucking talking about it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, like that's the other thing is that they could have so easily been like, I'm trying to break you out of this. And then you have the episode end, and then you set up Agatha Harkness being the Scarlet Witch's mentor. And you set up Agatha Harkness for being the Fantastic Four's nanny.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm
but you're not going to let that one go. You're going to worry.
No,
but you know what though? But
I'm not going to let it go.
But they sort of painted themselves into the corner though. The only way they could do that, you have to bring Sparky back because the audience not going to forget.
That's true.
You delighted. You bragged. I killed the dog too, and you laughed. So. And she said, "Oh, I didn't kill Sparky. I just said that." Okay.
No, I'm sorry. It's done. The number,
but I'm saying you have
brilliant
to
Agatha Harkness memes out there. Haha! I wrote the final season of Game of Thrones. Haha! It's done. She's done.
Yeah,
she's baddie forever. It's beautiful.
Oh man!
All right, so now let's talk about another thing from the comics that.
Ooh, I have one, Pat. I have one.
Okay.
I have to.
Please take it
away.
The
one thing we haven't gotten into, and there's so much in the comics, but especially because we're talking about Vision Quest right now, with that whole John Byrne run. And sorry, I lost my headphones for a second. I got so excited. Let's talk. I gotta say it because I love John Byrne. That Master Pandemonium. I can't. That image of him with one child as each arm, and they're part of my body, and it was
please explain this for our audience, man, because it is listen, Byrne is a brilliant artist, and
also recall that.
Gentlemen, I hate to interrupt. I need to cut out.
Okay.
I apologize, but
we've been rambling forever.
No, rambles. I enjoy being educated. I appreciate it, and I love hearing how passionate you guys are. It's fantastic.
It was nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you too. I'm sorry.
Same here. Let's do it again sometime.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We'll definitely do. You know what? Why don't we do another episode with the three of us all for Falcon Winter Soldier?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
Dynamite.
Have a lovely night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
T, talk to you soon. Give Tony and the Munchkin a hug and a kiss for me, please.
I will, absolutely.
Awesome.
And I will getting back to Mass. Oh, so what I'll do is I'll relate it to the show, and if I miss anything, Marc would definitely be able to fill in a little better than I am.
I just want to point out that Byrne was batting cleanup from something that the really shitty start of the West Coast Avengers with crappy art and actually some pretty good writing, some fun writing, but Master Pandemonium was not really working as a villain in the early days, and Byrne actually gave him teeth. But he was batting cleanup from some very early ideas.
Yeah, but the whole character design is terrible. Yeah, please, actually, Levi.
Yeah. The design's shit. But again, then you got
but you're putting it in the proper context.
Yeah,
but as
also,
far
Byrne
as the show goes,
horror buff.
No, it felt so out of. I just remember being so excited about this whole thing, about his return in Vision Quest, and that just fell so flat on me. And then I'm so glad they didn't bring that into the show. But the way they sort of did, and if I can bring the imagery up, there's a part in the show where right before the finale, when they come back from the finale, you see